and you will not be shaken because you are covered by the blood of Jesus.
Phone Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, throw it in the drunk.
Something about Erika Kirk hit Joe Rogan in a way that clearly stuck with him, and people around him say he just couldn't shake it. This wasn't anger, and it wasn't entertainment either. It wasn't even that casual skepticism he usually applies to stories that pop up on his radar before he moves on. This felt different, something deeper, something that kept pulling him back again and again to the same clips, the same moments, the same tiny details everyone else had already seen. But for some reason, it landed differently when it reached someone with his kind of instincts for reading people. Because Joe Rogan built his entire career on one thing: sitting face to face with people for hours and figuring out who's real and who's putting on a show. He's done it with politicians, scientists, celebrities, athletes, comedians, even conspiracy theorists and world leaders. Give him 3 hours across a table, and he starts picking up on things most people miss. That's his edge. And the read he reportedly got on Erika Kirk? It wasn't just casual curiosity. Watching her clips, breaking down her interviews, zeroing in on those moments others pointed out, it all hit differently through his lens. What he saw, what he picked up on, it allegedly unsettled him in a way he didn't expect at all. And that feeling just wouldn't let go. Let's break down what reportedly caught his attention first, because the order of events actually matters here. The starting point was a clip that had already gone viral, showing the exact moment Erika Kirk finally said the name Jesus out loud. But this wasn't some natural emotional expression of faith. It didn't come from a raw or spontaneous place. People who had been closely tracking her appearances had already flagged this moment as unusual, and for good reason. Before that clip, there had been a long stretch of public appearances where Erika talked a lot about her faith. She spoke on her spiritual strength, her Christian identity, and her connection to God. But here's the detail that made people pause. She never actually said the name at the center of it all: Jesus Christ. That absence started to stand out more and more the deeper people looked into it. Candace Owens had already pointed this out publicly before the clip even reached Rogan's radar. She told her audience directly that this woman, who was being presented to millions of grieving and trusting Christian conservatives as a strong symbol of faith, hadn't been saying Jesus Christ in her appearances. That claim got people curious fast. Her followers went back, rewatched clips, checked interviews, and then more people joined in. One by one, they started noticing the same pattern. And once enough eyes were on it, the observation wasn't just a theory anymore. It was something people felt had been clearly confirmed.
I lived out here. I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible.
There was this long run of public appearances where everything centered around a Christian identity, speaking directly to a Christian audience. But one key name was consistently missing. And not just any name. The name at the very core of Christianity: Jesus Christ. That absence didn't go unnoticed. And once people picked up on it, it started to feel louder every time she spoke. So when Erika finally said the name on camera, it didn't bring relief like some expected. Instead, it made people even more uncomfortable. A lot of viewers said the moment felt off, like it didn't come out naturally. It didn't sound like something she was used to saying. People pointed out her expression too, saying it didn't match the kind of ease or familiarity you'd expect from someone talking about the center of their own faith. That split-second reaction on her face, that's what really stuck with people. And that exact moment is reportedly what caught Joe Rogan's attention, and what he couldn't stop replaying. People close to conversations around him say his reaction wasn't casual at all. He wasn't treating it like just another viral clip or some interesting topic to break down from a distance. This hit him in a much more direct way. The way it's been described, he looked genuinely startled. Not curious, not amused, but shaken. The kind of reaction someone has when something feels off on a deep level, like their instincts are picking up on something they can't fully explain yet. It's not even about logic at that point. It hits somewhere deeper. And the detail that reportedly kept him locked in the longest? Her eyes. That same thing millions of others had been noticing, but couldn't quite explain. There had already been a wave of online discussions trying to figure it out, with people analyzing clips and debating what exactly seemed different during certain moments in her interviews. But through Rogan's lens, that small detail suddenly carried a whole different weight. Rogan reportedly kept rewinding the clip, watching it over and over again. And according to people who heard him react in real time, his response was straight to the point, no filter at all. He said, "This is not what a believer looks like." That wasn't dressed up, it wasn't softened. It was direct, and it caught people off guard. Now here's why that statement carries extra weight coming from Joe Rogan. He's not some traditional Christian voice breaking things down through strict religious rules or theology. That's not how he operates. He's talked many times about his own views. Things like exploring consciousness, psychedelic experiences, questioning reality itself, and being open to the idea that there's more beyond the physical world. His approach is spiritual, but not tied to any one label. He doesn't claim a specific religion, and he doesn't have a personal stake in defending or criticizing Christian traditions. That's exactly what makes his reported reaction stand out so much. He's not coming at this from a place of bias, and he's not trying to protect any group or push any agenda. So when someone like that, someone outside the usual circles with no clear reason to doubt her, watches that clip and says, "This is not what a believer looks like," it doesn't land like a theological critique. It hits differently. It comes off more like a raw instinct, the kind of judgment that isn't built on doctrine, but on something deeper and harder to explain. This wasn't about religion in a strict sense. It was a human read, the kind that picks up on the difference between someone truly living an identity and someone just performing it. And that's exactly the skill Rogan has built his entire career on, sitting across from people and catching those subtle signals most miss. The question people around him reportedly say he kept circling back to was simple but heavy. Who is Erika Kirk actually worshiping? That question didn't just stay private either. It started surfacing right as a completely separate line of digging was unfolding. And when the two threads collided, it created a picture that a growing number of people found seriously unsettling. That second thread didn't start with faith at all. It started with a roommate. For years, Erika had talked about a close friend she lived with in New York. She described this person as a major part of her early life in the city. Someone important, someone she leaned on. The way she told it sounded personal, warm, like a real ride-or-die friendship that helped shape her journey. But then things took a turn. Journalist Jason Lee reportedly began looking deeper into who this roommate actually was. And according to what he claimed to find, this wasn't just some random friend from her New York circle. He identified the roommate as Nicole Rothstein, Erika's first cousin. Now, on the surface, that difference might not seem like a huge deal. Calling a cousin a roommate could easily be about privacy or just simplifying the story for the public. People do that all the time. The reason it hit differently is what came next. Because Nicole Rothstein didn't stay out of sight. When questions about Erika's faith started picking up online, Nicole reportedly stepped right into the spotlight. She jumped into the comment section of one of Erika's videos and posted something that made people stop scrolling instantly. She wrote that half of Erika's family is Jewish, that Erika had celebrated Jewish holidays, and that she has deep respect for the Jewish religion. That comment didn't just sit there quietly. It dropped right into the middle of an already heated conversation about Erika's Christian identity. And because of what it said, who it came from, and when it showed up, it instantly grabbed a lot of attention. People were already questioning things, so this added a whole new layer. It wasn't random speculation anymore. It looked like inside information coming from someone close. To her, that's why it spread so quickly. Then suddenly, the comment was gone. Deleted. But by that point, it was too late to contain it. Jason Lee claimed he had already saved it before it disappeared, and once that screenshot started circulating, the deletion only made things louder. Because when something gains traction and then vanishes, it doesn't fade away. It sticks even harder in people's minds. Now the focus wasn't just on what was said, but why it was removed. That became part of the story too. People started asking what made that information important enough to share publicly, but also important enough to take down once it started spreading. From there, the digging didn't slow down. It intensified. The group of people tracking the situation went deeper, connecting details about Erika's family background to various institutions and affiliations. And now, those findings are being placed side by side with the Christian conservative image she's been presenting, creating a contrast that more and more people are starting to question. The details that keep making the rounds center on her Aunt Carla and a reported connection to Jack Solomon, described in online research as a casino developer, a trustee tied to Hebrew University, and a donor linked to the Jerusalem Foundation. Then there's an Instagram post, said to be from Erika herself, showing a family dedication sign in Jerusalem, a physical marker connected to her family's support for projects there, with claims floating around that they were even involved in restoration work tied to the Zion Gate. That's the kind of detail that got people talking fast. Now, it's important to be clear here, because this is where things can easily get twisted if people aren't careful. Having Jewish heritage is not a scandal. Having Jewish family members, celebrating Jewish holidays, or being connected to institutions in Israel, none of that is automatically negative or suspicious in any way. Those facts on their own don't point to wrongdoing, and they shouldn't be treated like they do. So why are people reacting so strongly? It's not about those details existing, it's about how everything is being presented. That's where the tension is coming from. Critics aren't saying that having Jewish family connections is an issue. What they're questioning is the image that was being built at the same time. Because alongside all of this, there was a very specific identity being shown to the public. A carefully shaped, fully Christian image presented to millions of people, especially Christian conservatives who were already emotionally invested. These are people who believed they were supporting someone who shared their exact faith, their worldview, and their spiritual foundation. And that's where the friction hits. Not in the background details themselves, but in the gap between what was shown and what is now being uncovered. That contrast is what's making more and more people stop, look closer, and start asking serious questions. What really pushed this situation to another level wasn't just the individual details. It was how everything started stacking up at the same time. One clip turns into a pattern. One comment turns into a bigger question. And suddenly, people aren't looking at isolated moments anymore. They're looking at a full picture, and that picture is what's making people uneasy. You've got the video moments that felt off to some viewers. Then the repeated discussions about faith, where certain details seemed missing. Then the resurfaced comment from a family member adding new context. And right behind that, the deeper dives into family background and connections. Each piece on its own might not have caused this kind of reaction, but together, that's when it started hitting differently. And this is where things really shift. The conversation stops being about one clip or one statement and turns into a bigger question about consistency. People start asking whether the public image matches the private reality, not in a dramatic, over-the-top way, but in a quiet, persistent way that keeps building the more they look. At the same time, others are pushing back, saying the internet has a habit of connecting dots that don't always belong together. They argue that people are taking normal personal details and turning them into something bigger than they need to be. That tension between suspicion and skepticism is what's driving the entire conversation forward right now. And right in the middle of all of it, the same thing keeps pulling attention back in. The clips, the expressions, the small moments that people can't seem to agree on, but also can't ignore. And as this kept spreading, the conversation didn't slow down. It split into two completely different directions. On one side, you had people doubling down, convinced they were seeing clear signs that something wasn't lining up. On the other side, you had people warning that things were getting blown way out of proportion, saying the entire situation was turning into a reach built on assumptions. The divide became impossible to ignore. Supporters argued that none of the details being shared actually proved anything serious. They pointed out that background, family ties, and even the way someone speaks about faith can vary a lot from person to person. To them, this whole wave of analysis felt like Marduk reading too deeply into normal behavior. But critics weren't backing off. They kept focusing on patterns, how certain moments looked, how certain words were used or avoided, and how the overall image was being presented to a very specific audience. For them, it wasn't about one mistake or one awkward clip. It was about consistency over time and whether everything truly matched up. What made it even more intense is how fast everything was moving. Clips were being reposted, broken down, slowed down, and analyzed from every angle. Entire threads were dedicated to single expressions or short responses, with people debating what they meant and whether they revealed something deeper. At that point, it wasn't just a story anymore. It had turned into a full online investigation, with thousands of people watching, debating, and trying to piece together their own version of what they believed was really going on. By this point, the situation had taken on a life of its own, and the spotlight wasn't fading. It was getting brighter. What started as a few observations had turned into a nonstop cycle of clips, reactions, and debates, with more people jumping in every day trying to figure out what they were really seeing. And the more attention it got, the more pressure started building around Erika herself. Because when this many eyes are locked in, people begin to expect answers. Not vague statements, not general responses, but something clear enough to address the growing list of questions that had been stacking up. At the same time, there's a reality that often gets overlooked in moments like this. Online discussions can move fast, and they don't always slow down to separate confirmed facts from speculation. That's part of what makes situations like this so intense. Once a narrative starts forming, it can be hard to control where it goes next. Still, the core issue hasn't really changed. People are focused on whether the public image they were shown lines up with everything that's now being discussed. That's the central tension driving all of this, and it's why the conversation keeps going instead of fading out. And until something shifts, whether that's new information, a direct response, or the attention simply moving elsewhere, this situation stays exactly where it is, under a microscope, with every detail being watched, questioned, and picked apart in real time by an audience that isn't looking away anytime soon. And now it all comes down to this moment, because everything that surfaced, every clip, every comment, every deep dive, has led to one big question that still hasn't been fully answered. What's real and what's just perception? Some people are convinced they've seen enough to make up their minds. Others are still holding back, waiting for something more solid before drawing any conclusions. And that divide, it's exactly why this story hasn't faded away. It keeps pulling people back in, because no matter where you stand, it leaves just enough uncertainty to keep the conversation alive. At the end of the day, situations like this show how fast things can escalate when public image, personal identity, and online attention all collide at once. One moment can spark 1,000 opinions. And once that happens, there's no easy way to slow it down. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think is really going on here? Do you think people are connecting real patterns or taking things too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see it, because this conversation is far from over.